Green. Listen, I just wanted to do a quick video with you guys just because I think it's so important. President's Day is the day where everybody gets the day off. Most kids are out of school, and most people think that today is President's Day. But it's actually the day where we celebrate and honor and remember George Washington's birthday. And I ran across a little article, just a little piece in the Washington Times, and I wanted to talk about it with you guys a little bit because I think it's so important. So it starts off like this. It says, in the deep of a cold night, almost 250 years ago, the remnants of an army waited for their turn to cross a river and head toward their enemy in hopes of surprising them on Christmas. Most troops had less than a week left in their enlistments and were already preparing to head home. The fading prospects for American independence would go with them. It would have been easy for those soldiers to have slipped off into the night, to not have gotten on the boats for this one final, probably pointless battle. However, just about all of them stayed to cross the Delaware, march to Trenton, and surprise and defeat the Hessians there on December 26, 1776. More than any other, that victory changed the fortunes of the Revolution. And it's so important to realize why those men did what they did and why they stayed and continued on for that final battle. And it's because they had George Washington as their leader. He was the one leading them. And he was such an incredible man, such an amazing military leader. And they were so devoted to him and his leadership. They didn't leave early and go home. They were totally committed and all in to finish fighting the revolution that gave us freedom, gave us our independence, and has helped us become the country we are today. Well, I wanted to talk a little bit more about President George Washington, because remembering these founding fathers is just so important. George Washington was born, so tomorrow is actually his birthday, February 22nd, 1732. Now, George Washington dropped out of school at the age of 15 years old, tended the family farm, worked in surveying, worked in real estate. He never wrote any books. He wasn't particularly gifted or a big speaker. He wasn't a rich man at the time. But one thing to remember about George Washington is he was a great military leader, and he was fearless, absolutely fearless. He was entrusted with commands by the British Army during the French and Indian War when he was only 22 years old. Think about that. What a change compared to most young men today. He defeated that same British Army, considered the best in the world 25 years later in the Revolutionary War. Yes, the British Army in that day was the biggest, strongest army in the world, most powerful country on earth, and George Washington was one of the main people that led America to winning that war. He also guided the proceedings of the Constitutional Convention, enhanced its deliberations by his calming presence. And here's what's so interesting to remember. Here's a word I think we should remind people of. The deliberations were made easier with certain knowledge among the delegates that George Washington, would be the first president, here's the main word, of the new republic. America is a republic, not a democracy. That's a word that you don't hear enough of. Democrats are constantly talking about democracy, democracy, especially when you hear them talking about Ukraine today. But America is a republic. George Washington voluntarily stepped down after serving 2 terms, and that has been the precedence ever since. It's never been changed. Now, here's what I find so interesting, and I was glad I read this article today because this was the part that I really wanted to talk with you all about. His farewell address, there was something he touched on, and I'm just going to read the last part here. Of all the dispositions and habits which lead to political prosperity, religion and morality are indispensable supports. In vain would that man claim the tribute of patriotism. Who should labor to subvert these great pillars of human happiness, these firmest props of the duties of men and citizens? Can it be that Providence has not connected the permanent felicity of a nation with its virtue? talking about religion and morality as these great pillars of human happiness just reminds me of how much our country has gone downhill when it comes to religion and morality. We're living in a time where our culture, many leaders, Hollywood, the Democrat Party, people in Washington, you're seeing them constantly attacking our Christian values. You're seeing them constantly attacking our faith, attacking God, God's creation, that He created them male and female. In His image, He created us. You're seeing the attacks on women's rights, girls sports, just the whole idea that a man that wants to identify as a woman has the right somehow to compete in our sports, like the swimmer Leah Thompson, who was born. His birth name is William. He's a biological male that says he's a woman, and so he feels the right to defeat women in women's sports. He couldn't compete with the men, so he decided to compete with the women, really beat the women down. But these are the types of decline in morality, and it's because people have just lost touch, and they haven't drawn the line in the sand. They aren't willing to stand for something and say enough of these things. Our country was founded by great men that cared very much about faith, read the Bible, they were devoted to it, they were proud of it, and they believed that this was something worth fighting for, something that we needed to stand for, and they did. And I think it's so important for us today to stand for those same things, and that's why I wanted to talk today about George Washington's birthday. Well, today is also my father's birthday. My father passed away last year, and I miss him so much. I really miss him. My dad was one of those great men that just, absolutely worked so hard. He was self-made and just was a wonderful, wonderful man. I'm really lucky that I grew up having the father that I had. He was a strong leader, just believed in all good things and worked so hard to make sure that we kept them. And so I just wanted to talk about him for a few minutes as I was reading these things about George Washington, that article, and I read some other things a little earlier today. So as we are going through these times where we're having a rough time, unbelievable time with high inflation, crime is out of control, our border is wide open. We have a president in the White House that has no clue what he's doing and seems to be more interested in Ukraine than he even cares about the United States of America. I think it's so important for all of us to know the things that matter, and that is our faith, our family, and our freedoms. And we should definitely be standing up for those things. So, praying for America always, praying for our children we need to put our kids first. Enough of the mask in school. We need to put their educations first. I'm one of those that have been very outspoken. I say that I believe masking is child abuse. It's hurt our children's education, especially early childhood education, and it needs to come to an end. And this is something I know parents really care about. CRT, no more CRT in schools. We don't need to be teaching our children to be racist. We need to teach our children proper education, reading, math, and of course, history, the right history, which is the truth, the accurate history. We don't need to cover it up. We need to teach all of it. And then also, it's so important for us to stay focused on this election cycle coming up this year. And that's why, everyone, I want to make sure you get it on your calendar. I'm having a big rally right here in Rome, Georgia on March 5th. Make sure that you sign up at mtgrally.com, mtgrally.com. And that's going to be something you do not want to miss. Steve Bannon is coming down and broadcasting his War Room show from the rally live in person here in Rome, Georgia. And we're having lots of speakers lined up, very important candidates running for governor, running for Secretary of State here in Georgia, running for Senate here in Georgia. And then I'm speaking as well, of course, and we're going to have some more people coming out because we are so focused right here at home, especially in my district in Northwest Georgia. We are really focused on protecting our Second Amendment rights, protecting our freedoms, and doing everything we can to stop Stacey Abrams. We do not want her as governor. So it's time to get people together, get people excited about this election cycle because it's so, so important. We have to flood the polls. We have to do everything we can to stop the Democrats, stop communism, and save America. So make sure you hit share on this video. It's so important to hit share. Also, I just want you guys to know I'm up on Truth Social. Have you guys gotten on there yet? I think today is the day where everyone can start getting signed up and hopefully getting their profiles going. You know, Facebook censors us. It censors me greatly. It pushes down my posts, and it makes it hard for a lot of people to see them. Big tech censorship is something that we have to end. I'm very excited working on a bill on that right now. So we'll have a big announcement here in a few weeks about the bill that I think is so important to stop big tech censorship. All right, you guys, I'm going to take off for the rest of this day. I hope you all are doing well. God bless every single one of you. Hit share on the video and make sure that you're able to come to the rally here at Coosa Valley Fairgrounds in Rome, Georgia on March 5th. Remember, you can sign up for that and get information at mtgrally.com. And I look forward to seeing you guys there. Okay, enjoy today. It's